More than 1,000 local politicians from across Europe have penned a letter calling for commensurate consequences if Israel goes ahead with plans to annex parts of the occupied West Bank. Palestinians claim the land for their own future independent state. The proposal to incorporate up to 30% of the territory could be put to a vote as early as next Wednesday. The US President Donald Trump backed the incorporation of land in a Middle East peace plan he unveiled in January. On Monday, US Republicans wrote to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu supporting Israel's right to set its own borders. Well, let's find out more about this letter signed by those European politicians and go to Brussels to speak to our correspondent, Jack Parrick, who's there for us. Jack, so tell us a little bit more. Who's signed this letter? Because it's hundreds of politicians across Europe. And what are they threatening to do if Israel doesn't pull back?
Hi, Rosie. Well, the call is for, as you said, commensurate measures if there is an annexation of the West Bank. Now, what that would mean and what that would be calling on governments to do, what those measures would be, we don't know. That isn't in the letter. As far as who signed it, most of the, if you sort of scan the list of the 1,080 members of parliaments from 25 different European countries, they're mainly from the sort of socialist, liberal, green and leftist parties of Europe. And they're putting pressure on European and their own national governments to try to force the hand of the Israelis and try and call and use all the diplomatic might to prevent them from the annexation, from annexing any of the land in the West Bank. Now, this was open, the door was open to this by the Trump plan, and they're worried, and they say in the letter that they're worried that it could start, the annexation could start as early as the 1st of July.
Germany's Foreign Minister Heiko Maas was just in Israel talking about the annexation. But how much sway, really, does Brussels have in Israel, Jack?
Well, this has been the problem, Rosie. In previous US administrations, there's been a sort of equal power of diplomacy between the US and the European Union. Probably not equal, but certainly there was much more sway from the European side. But since Donald Trump has taken power and has really changed the way that the US looks at Israel and has opened the door for so many of these things, the Europeans have really struggled to have any real influence. The EU's foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell, was just in Israel himself as well. Take a listen to what he had to say about this.
Annexation will not solve anything. By the contrary, it would put at risk for sure the two-state solution, but also the stability and the peace in the region. And we have been trying to explain to our Israeli friends that on the same way that the security of Israel is something non-negotiable for us, the unilateral annexation would be something that we could not support, that we could not recognize.
Jack, thank you very much, speaking to us there in Brussels.